going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Outerzone. My name is Jacob Gettins, and we have a very, very special episode for you today. As you can tell, I am nowhere near a Formula Drift track right now. I am in Ferropolis, Germany, at an absolutely insane weekend. This hosts both Iron Drift King and Drift Masters, and we are here for a couple of reasons, but the main reason for you guys is we're going to be talking to Formula Drift drivers that are now competing in Europe. These are drivers that have either competed in both, are competing in both, have competed just in Europe and maybe dabbled in the US, or have started in the US and moved over to Europe. So we've got some incredible guests lined up today, people you haven't heard from in a while, people that you may have forgotten. It's going to be a super, super cool one. So make sure to listen to the entire thing because get some fun questions in there for you. So stay tuned and we'll catch you guys when it's all over.
Oh, no! Knock him out! Knock him more into it! Chelsea stays in it!
Okay, we are here in Ferropolis, Germany, for Iron Drift King, and we are obviously meeting up with Simon Olsen. What is it like? What is this swap like from FD life to, the European drifting life?
So for me, it's kind of easier to do this kind of in one way because I have my bus, all my equipment that I'm used to.
Yeah.
I have the Supra that I'm obviously also used to drive. But it's been some time off driving the Supra. So this time it was a little bit tricky to get comfortable in the car again. We have a new setup from the help from the field suspension race team. We have Odie here to help out. We have Elliot and we have had Chris on the phone to get the right suspension setup that we tried to achieve. And I think we did, but we didn't have a lot of practice and we was a little bit back and forth on tires that we were using this weekend. So never felt quite comfortable. It's a little bit more hassle with this stuff in Europe because I'm kind of in charge of everything again. Yeah. In FD, I'm basically just a driver. Yeah. So, it's a little bit more stress. I have to rig up the whole rig and do stuff like that. But it's fun. It's this is what I'm normally used to besides FD. So it's good to be back in Europe and drive my own car with my own rig and my own team. So I enjoy it.
Good. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's big differences like, in this case, this is a huge bus that you load the car on the back to, which is one of the sketchiest things I've ever witnessed in person. But then even just like the travel, right? Like the distance might be shorter, but the driving time is longer because speed limits are different. This can only go so fast and like certain different driving things. So what is, I guess, like outside of the driving part, what is the main thing that you find different between kind of the US side and the European one?
Finding the setup, I would say.
Okay.
Because I'm not experienced enough to tell exactly what I need. So with the help from the field team, I definitely get a lot more help to get the actual setup that we need. Yeah. So we're struggling a little bit more to find the perfect balance. With the field team, it's more like I say I need a little bit more side grip here. Yeah. And immediately they have a brilliant idea to get that. We need to try out more stuff. We are not so familiar with the Supra. The S chassis has years of development into it. So that's kind of the hardest part, actually.
And I think it's important for everybody to know, too, you have two of these, right? Yeah. So you've got the one that's here and then the one that's still in the US, which we don't know what's happening with that yet. Nothing's been released. Yeah. But they are virtually identical cars. Yeah.
They are, there's minor differences between them. It comes down to different brakes and the cage is a little bit different. Okay. That's most of the biggest differences, actually.
Is that just because FD needs a very specific cage and then the European side doesn't need as...
No, it was more that the FD car was the first car we built. And then we learned some stuff that we wanted to improve. The cage in the FD car is a little bit tighter.
Okay.
So we moved the main hoop of the cage a little further back to give some more space. That's pretty much it. And some minor details too. A little bit smaller radiator in the back of the Norwegian car or European car.
Yeah.
Just small stuff.
When it comes to the drivers that you're competing against, what do you like feel like is a main difference? Because there's like some incredible driving here, like on par with anybody in the world. But do they do like a different style? Is there different entries? Is there anything that's noticeable where you're like, right, I'm driving in Europe again?
I would say they are a little bit more strict on having identical angle, or what do you call it? Like
the proximity is.
Yeah, the proximity is important here.
Yeah,
but to mimic angle isn't that important here.
Okay.
I think they judge it harder in FD if you don't mimic the angle of the lead car. So here it's a little bit more focus on proximity.
Yeah,
and that's kind of most of the differences between what I think. And of course, the tires we use in Europe is way better.
Yeah. Well, it's the tread wear. I mean, the big difference being that, the tread wear here, their guys 140. I thought I heard somebody say down to like 130 tread wear. I don't know if they were quite that low or that's just, beer talk. But, FD, everything's 200, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was going around like sticking my thumbnail into tires all weekend, and man, there's some here that like they feel like they could crumble in your hands. They're so soft.
Yeah, and when they're brand new like that, you can feel that they're soft. But as soon as you have heated them, it's even crazier.
Yeah, it's like liquid.
Yeah. So I think I saw Chelsea Nova put in a good word to describe it. It was like FD has more chassis grip. Right. And Europe has more tire grip.
Right.
So that's the biggest differences between it, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're having to do so much more in FD because the tread wear is higher.
Yeah.
You've got to throw more toe in. You got to make more suspension adjustments. Whereas here, you can kind of set the car up and just play with PSI a lot easier.
Exactly. And for me, I've been. This is my third year in FD.
Yeah.
And it's most likely the same drivers.
Yeah.
So you kind of learn your opponents a little bit.
Yep.
You know their driving style and stuff like that. So here I don't know any of them. So it's harder to adapt for each person you are battling. I didn't do well this weekend. I went out in top 32. That
happens.
It says a lot about the drivers we have here. They're super good. But we was just not feeling it. But it's hard to like get actual data when it's 55 drivers in Iron Drift King.
Yeah.
And you're very limited on practice. So it was a tough weekend.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, I think too, have you noticed your driving has changed coming from the V8 now into the 2J? Have you developed any habits? Like, are you trying to like grunt the car down really low and just stab the throttle or anything like that?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. It people start asking me like, how is the Supra compared to the S14?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it's not much difference because I still have the 2J or the turbo inline 6 driving style where you have to play a lot with the clutch.
Yeah.
I still do that and search for grip in the S chassis as well, but I've been more not so picky about it anymore when I drive the V8. So I have the bad habit now of just letting the rev down and then just floor it to get it up again.
Yeah.
Here, tried to do that and I almost stalled it a couple of times. So it was like, okay, back to square one and start all over again.
A lot more like just having to play with it a fair bit.
So we had a brand new clutch in for this event, but I think it's soon to be toast.
Okay. So what is the road trip essential snacks? So US, you've got your favorites and the restaurants you like to stop at, but where do you stop for food and gas and all those road trip essentials on a trip like this?
Normally it's this is actually the only European events that we do outside of Gatbill.
Right.
We have Gatbill in Norway and Sweden, but it's not as long of a drive. So normally we just get some food before we leave, and that's more than fine for the whole trip because to Rudskogen in Norway. It's like 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
Then you don't need a stop. And we fill up the diesel before we take off from home.
Yep.
So it holds up the whole trip. Down here, we just try to. It's a long drive, and we have to do the whole drive in one day.
Yeah.
So we try to stop as little as possible. We have a shower, we have a toilet, we have a kitchen, we have refrigerators.
Yeah.
So we kind of have everything in this bus. So we normally don't stop unless it's very necessary.
Yeah.
So we got food and drinks and whatever we need for the trip with us, and we just make something on the way.
Besides a large case of chocolate milk, what are you normally eating then?
Well, track food, it's probably gonna be I would say burgers or toasts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're lots of
something
sandwiches.
easy.
Yeah.
Sandwiches and stuff like that.
Yeah. Nothing too crazy.
Now we had tacos the other day though.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we try at least to have one nice meal with everyone and sit down.
I missed out on tacos.
Yeah, you missed it.
That's all right. I'll catch you on the
Next time.
one. Nice. So what's your schedule now? We've got Utah coming up in a couple of weeks. What happens after you leave here?
So we can start with Seattle. We had Seattle last weekend.
Right. Yeah.
And then,
let's go backwards.
We'll start over there. We had Seattle. Got back home. Was in Norway for 16 hours. Had a 4.5 hours drive from the airport back home. Had to go over the last details on the bus. Was home in my own house where I took a shower and packed my bags and went to sleep. I was literally in the house for 6 hours before I had to start driving to Germany.
Jesus.
Then we're going to be back home midnight till Monday. Have the whole the whole week back home, going on work on Tuesday.
Yep.
So 4 days of work. Then we take off for practice in Utah.
Yeah.
And then I will be back home on Wednesday in Norway. On Thursday, we had to Gatbill for the weekend. And then I will be back home on Monday. And Tuesday again, we'll leave to Salt Lake to do Utah.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
So it's 4 weeks straight with drifting.
Wow.
So it's a busy schedule for sure.
Yeah, this is definitely a busy month coming up.
Yeah.
So, well, sir, I've enjoyed hanging out with you here a little bit in Europe. Stoked to hopefully see you get some sleep before the next little bit. And I'm excited for Utah. You did really well there last year. It was fourth.
Yeah,
fourth
last year, and we're now sitting fifth in the championship.
Yes,
I'm very, very, very stoked about that. And Utah is definitely my favorite track of all tracks in the whole world.
Wow.
I like it a lot. So feeling very comfortable there. Excited to do Utah with a better setup car. And let's see what we can do there. I'm definitely aiming for the win.
Sweet. All right, man.
Yeah.
Have fun. I'll see you soon.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Juha Rintanen. Did I say that all right?
Oh, pretty much.
Pretty much?
Yeah.
You kind of, yeah. I apologize.
Yeah,
all right. So, we're here in Germany, obviously. You are crushing it in Drift Masters.
Yeah.
Third place right now, I believe. Qualifying looked like it went pretty well. How are you feeling? How has this weekend been for you so far?
So far, so good.
Yeah.
The new car, we built a new Toyota GR86.
Looks amazing.
For this year, and thank you. And so far, it's working really great.
Yeah.
Better than the last that I had, the Nissan. But,
the livery is what caught me. Like somebody put a lot of thought into this.
Yes.
Like it's a beautiful looking car.
Oh, thank you.
So, how have you, I guess, like enjoyed or maybe not enjoyed the time away from the US? What's that been like? I very much remember you in FD. I remember watching and seeing you kind of go through. And I mean, it's a very different world over there versus here. But what's it been like now that you're, I guess, solely in Europe?
Well, it's a lot more easier for us because we're based in Europe. So I have all my friends and team here. So it's a lot easier to manage.
Yeah.
But I do miss US.
Yeah.
I miss the weather. So it's very hot in here. It's hard to be, but
yeah,
it's fine. And
Is there anything in particular, like a restaurant or just like
foods and everything? Yeah. There's a lots of stuff. I was there last year for the Irwindale.
Yeah.
And maybe doing that this year also.
Okay, nice.
Just for fun and just for a holiday.
I mean, I'm sure we could find you a car. I can make some calls, see if somebody's got a spare one kicking around.
Sure, that would be awesome though. But.
Has it gone, I guess, like through your mind to come back, or is it just logistically and financially just a massive undertaking?
Well, all the moons would have to align.
Right.
So it's all about the budget always.
Yeah.
And I would need a good team and everything. So like I said, it's hard to manage for a small team like us. But possibly, I'd like love to go back for someday. But
somebody calls you and is like, hey, we want you to come back. Here's a car. You're like, yeah, for sure. I'll be there. Yeah. What has been the biggest difference you find between the US side of drifting and European?
I don't think there's so much difference.
Yeah.
The level is high in every series. Europe has gone up
quickly.
Yeah, very
like
quickly.
Last 5 years has been insane to watch.
Yeah, true. So it's not that it's better in FD, but it's just different.
Yeah, different tracks, different styles.
Yeah, exactly.
Different speeds. The tires are what are blowing me away.
Yeah.
I've been going around like poking my finger in tires everywhere to see, and I'm so used to the 200 tread wear we find in FD, and some of these claim they're like 140, but man, they feel like 100 tread wear. They feel squishy.
They are very soft, and like my car is pushing over 1,000 wheel almost, and still it feels like it's not enough.
Really?
At some points, yeah. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
How much stress and everything it's put into the car. So, but it's still fun. I don't mind it. I love the grip, and it's fun.
What's your favorite track over here? Like,
that's hard.
Yeah.
I don't have any favorite tracks here or in the US. Just
no.
I love driving fast, and I love the small technical stuff. And it doesn't matter.
No, you just here to party. That's it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, the technical stuff. I mean, obviously, it's different. I feel like US kind of gets put into a bucket of like big, fast, crazy tracks, and then when we get something like a new St. Louis layout, people get upset, and it's like, well, it mixes it up. Do you want to keep doing banks all the time, or do you want something that's a little bit different?
Yeah.
So I would very much like to see some of the US drivers come over, especially with a track like this, and see how that would go.
Yeah, of course.
I feel like a lot of them would do well, but maybe some of them would struggle. It's such a different feeling, a different track, different tires, different everything. But
like Naoki this year, driving. So he hasn't done really well, but the driving style is just different. And I think for next year, if he's going to drive here, he's going to do a lot more better.
Yeah. I think your first year, you're just trying to figure it out, right?
True.
You're still trying to understand how this all operates. So
the differences.
Yeah. No, it's been good. So who are you going up against in top 32?
I have Andrius Vasiliuskas.
Okay.
He has the big M4.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's going to be a top from the start. But if I get through, I think if I get through from top 8, that's really good for me for the championship.
Right.
Because all the Shanahans are behind, and then Lauri, my fellow countryman. So we'll see. I'll try to push everything we can. And
I hope so, man. It's been great to see you drive again. Which driver would you like to see that maybe hasn't competed in the US come over? Is there somebody that like deserves a shot? I mean, obviously, we'd love to see you come back, but you've been there already. Is there somebody who hasn't gone that you're like, that's somebody who deserves the next spot?
To drive from US to drive here, or
either one, really.
I don't know.
No, I don't know.
No,
it's all good.
Whatever.
Yeah, you're just here. You're here to drive for yourself, and that's it. You don't worry about the politics of
exactly.
it. Nah, it's all good. Well, I appreciate you taking a few minutes. I know you're insanely busy, and I'm glad we got to catch up a little bit.
Thank you.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon. All right, so I managed to track down Yves Meyer's. Do I have that pronunciation right? Well, give me like the proper, wow, what does your mom yell at you?
My mom is like Yves, just like short. I noticed like the US, they spell the S.
Yeah, we always put the S on the end. It's just Yves.
But it's just Yves. It's like originally like a French name.
Is it?
So,
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh, but you're Swiss.
Yes, I'm Swiss. Yes.
Born and raised?
Yeah, born and raised.
Gotcha. What is the biggest difference that you've noticed between being Swiss or Switzerland and America? Like if you had to pick one thing that you're like, here's the one thing that's completely different.
So the US is pretty big, Yeah.
Yeah.
And for us, like if we come like to California, it's like pretty similar.
Yeah.
It's like, we have there's trees, there are mountains, it's clean, like if you're not like deep in LA or something. But especially if you go like to Florida or like New York. New York's like the big buildings. We don't have them in Switzerland.
Okay.
I mean, New York has like how much? 40 million people living
something
there?
Like that.
So we have 8 in the whole country.
Jeez.
And Florida is like the South America vibe and stuff. So for us, like I think to come to the US, it's kind of vacation and enjoy like the big country and like all the sizes, you know, like starting from trucks, cars.
Yeah, the bullnose trucks, right? You guys are so used to the cab overs. That's what got me the first time I came here. I was like, everything's a cab over. Like all the Skona or I can't remember all the names of the trucks, but it was like, and the guys take it very seriously. The guys with the big lights on, the big like racks and stuff. But yeah. I mean, I like with the US where it's almost like multiple countries in one country. Like Texas to Florida is 2 very different places.
Exactly.
So it's almost like traveling across Europe where it's, different. Definitely. The languages are almost different too.
Yeah. The accent is like some, like we learn our English like in school and it's like kind of a basic English. But then some parts you can understand pretty good, like in the US, and then some parts you're like, oh, what is he
further
saying?
south, right? Like you get into Atlanta, you get the drawl, you get like the long words.
It's almost like if you go to Ireland, you can't you can't listen to them. It's like hard.
Well, it was funny even here, just like during the day, I can understand everybody, but then as people started drinking,
and the Irish start early,
dude. I was chatting with the Shanahan's father. No idea what he was saying. Yeah, he's yelling at me about something. I'm like, yes, okay. What did I just agree to? So no, it's been wild. So how have you enjoyed just doing the European program? Has it been good, bad, less stress, more stress?
Yeah, luckily our collaboration with Toyota started during the season 21 already. When we have been with the Eurofighters in the US. And then I got lucky to get Jonathan Castro's old car to drive a Toyota in the 2022. And the plan was, from there on, to build the new Supras.
Okay.
The only problem was we had the chance to get like raw chassis, directly out of factory, which was a good thing, but it was very hard to get. So we waited like 9 months for the chassis.
Okay.
In this time, we could buy like wrecked cars and start building it. But that was not the plan.
Yeah.
So, and then like coming back to Europe, I need to say, we left Europe when King of Europe was the biggest series.
Right.
So Drift Masters was like a small series out of the eastern part.
Yep.
You already heard it's a hard championship because like all the eastern guys, they
crazy.
They're getting
everybody
crazy.
Europe and everybody out of Ireland and even some of the guys out of England, like it was nuts.
Exactly. And when we left Europe, it was like King of Europe was the biggest, and we just go to FT because FT is like the major series, and it's like everybody was looking on it. And when we came back now, like we have a new car, and the Drift Master Championship is just a whole other level, And I would not say like it's higher or lower than FT. It's just like completely a different style. And when we watched qualifying yesterday, I mean, like top 23 was in the 90s.
Yeah.
So it was unbelievable.
Yeah. And this track lends itself to high scores, but it's very precise. Like it's all outside zones, but
and the consistency.
Yeah.
Like
everything on the wall.
Most of the drivers that like 295 back-to-back runs.
Yeah.
Is insane.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, it's all walls. It's very much like Long Beach in that way, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, this track fits like Long Beach or maybe also like a bit of English Town.
Yeah,
English Town, like the style and the speed on it. But they're like, I really like Irvindale and stuff like bank tracks.
Yeah.
I also like very much like Erie because it was like kind of mix, like the big bank and then the technical stuff in the inside.
Yeah.
So I think also like that's the biggest difference you need to know about Drift Masters. It's way more technical driving than grip and speed.
Yeah, it's a lot of what I've been hearing, especially the tires are kind of like the big thing. Obviously, this is, the tires are everything in drifting, and it's interesting to hear the sizes that guys run here, and obviously the compounds and stuff like that. So it's a whole other can of worms.
Exactly. Like the regulations in Drift Masters are you're only allowed to go to 285s.
Yeah.
And there is no like weight class or something.
Yeah.
And for the smaller technical tracks, it's definitely right now compounds like the Extreme and the Valino, which are very, very nice. I don't know if you noticed, like this morning, there were quite a few like wall hits, and there were a lot of Valino drivers in it. because the track temperature right now is so high and the tire got so hot. You saw them like on throttle floating out.
Yeah.
So I think now, especially in the afternoon, like maybe top 32, there is a big chance for other tire compounds to keep up with the normally faster ones,
right?
Because it's too hot. But then if we go like to Finland or Sweden, where it was like 18 degrees outside, it was just like our Nexen is like very nice for long banks in the US and everything.
Yeah.
But it's a hard time to drive on technical tracks with lower track temperatures here in Europe.
So you have to start dialing in more of the mechanical grip. Right.
Exactly.
Huh. Yeah. And are you guys the only ones running Nexen? Or like,
yes.
I didn't see anybody else. Like I've been, that's all I've been doing is looking at tires all weekend.
You know, like we started to work with Nexen 6 years ago because of safety driving in Europe.
Right.
They also built the manufactory. They opened it last year in Europe. So they want to get into the European market. That's why we started with our safety driving stuff. And then obviously I need to say Nexen was the only reason why we got the chance to go budget-wise to the FD, you know, because some Nexen drivers, like they changed the brands, changed the teams, and Nexen's strategy was always like they want to also have like some international drivers, like they have with Aspo and stuff. And this was our chance to go there. So basically Nexen brought us there, and now we brought the Nexen to Europe.
That's cool.
And it's very, very cool because we have the support from Korea as well. And they really, really want to know what they need to change for the European Drift Master Championship.
That's good. I mean, that communication back and forth is so key, right? Especially if you're, you know, this is a tire that was more developed for what was happening in FD.
Exactly.
And now they're trying to adapt it here. So it's going to take a little bit to get up to speed there. Huh. I did not, I was
but
not
that's racing, you know, it's development. And that's a really big fact, which I like in motorsport, because we develop a lot of stuff.
And it's long term too. Like you could just jump around from tire to tire to tire and trying to chase the best one, but you'll probably end up having to pay because you're not working long term. Whereas with Nexen, they've done you a favor, you are doing them a favor.
Exactly.
It's like a better business term as opposed to.
I don't like the word like sponsoring. I like the word partnership.
Yes.
And the partnership is always on both sides.
Yes.
So that's the main key fact.
No, that is true. So what is the? I mean, I think I already know the answer, so I'll just say it. What makes you drive 5+ hours just for In-N-Out?
What? You know it?
Yeah, I know In-N-Out, but I don't know if it's quite 5 hours worth of driving.
So, you know, like back in the day, so I was in California first time when I was 16.
Yeah.
Because we did like snowboard videos up in North Star and Bear Mountain and stuff.
That's how you know that. Yeah, that's how you know the hat company. All right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, we always went to In-N-Out, you know, like, because it's just unbelievable tasty for a fast food company.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And we don't have it in Switzerland or in Europe.
Yeah.
And so basically it's the quality of the food, and it's also like a bit the vibe.
Yeah.
Because like 4 years ago there was a pop-up store in Switzerland, and I met Lindsay Snyder there, and she gave me the business card, and we had the opportunity to see the academy at the Baldwin Park and everything, you know.
Okay.
And there is quite a gap, you know, like from Long Beach, then you go to the East Coast races, and then is Seattle is the next on the West Coast, and the next is in Oregon. Yeah. So it's a 5 hours drive. So we fly one day earlier, drive down there.
Oh my God.
And you know what? We did it 3 times.
Really? Damn. What's your order? What do you normally get?
I normally get the first is a double with fries.
Okay.
And after that, the protein style.
Yes.
And sometimes I take the animal fries.
Okay.
But it depends on
how you
maybe
feeling?
For dinner, yes. For lunch, not.
No,
it's too much for the afternoon.
That's a lot. That's a lot of food.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, I don't mind In-N-Out, but I've never driven that far. But you know what? I will say is I've driven several hours for Chick-fil-A. Before Chick-fil-A started moving further north, whenever we would road trip down south, I used to like drive down to Road Atlanta. It's like a 19-hour drive, and we'd always like make sure to detour right away to go to a Chick-fil-A.
Which is also tasty.
Chick-fil-A is so good.
Definitely.
Yeah. Definitely. I don't know if there's any restaurant I would drive that far though. But I mean, I guess when you've had it and then you are literally on a different continent, it's different. It's all you think about.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
Exactly.
So is there any chance we're going to see you guys back in FD? Is that conversations you've been having, or?
Yes, those conversations are still open. You know, like our main partnership is with Toyota because we're racing Switzerland.
Switzerland, right.
So for their markets, it's pretty interesting that we are around with the cars.
Right.
So it's the Drift Master Championship, but it's also a lot of shows, demos, bringing the cars to dealerships.
It's a full-time job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So basically, I think there is an opportunity where we can team up again because we had like a nice team with Matt Field.
Yeah.
We're very thankful for this 2.5 years. And we just need now a bit to figure out schedules and get the second car ready, you know.
I've seen a couple of schedules floating around for FD next year. I don't know if you've seen them yet.
Yes,
There's a couple of dates that are, you know.
So Cassidy is a nice girl.
Oh, okay. She's feeding you info.
Yeah, you know, like I think it's totally fine, you know, because
it's open. I mean, it's not open to the public. We can't say any dates, but like I think it's good. They're talking about it now.
You know? Because like I said, you know, like we already start to make our plans.
Yeah.
The budget and the big companies, the partners, they do the budgets until October. So yeah, you need to have an idea what's going on next year.
Yeah, and that's how far out you should be planning. Like, I mean, I know guys that coming off of Long Beach were already talking about, you know, partnerships and everything for next year, right? Because that's what you have to do in this game. You've got to be
like you said, it's a business, you know.
Yeah, it is.
We talked off scene a bit, and you were like, driving is 10%. That's totally true, you know. I think that's the most interesting part, maybe also for people that are not that deep in it.
Yeah.
And especially, you know, like off season, people think like, it's holidays and the whole team can rest, you know, like, and you're just knocking from door to door, and the mechanics are just like hours and hours.
Down. Yeah.
Exactly.
Back down to a bare shell.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah. It's so much work, and at this level, and I mean, you guys at one point were juggling a European program and a US program, and there's very few guys still doing that. Simon does a little bit. Osbo still does a little bit. He's got that big tour on the go.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I'm missing some people. A couple guys do Japan as well.
Exactly.
Ken Gushi, I think, is driving Japan as well this year. It's
Kusama.
a lot. Yeah.
Which is a nice team also. It's like an OG team.
I know.
So.
It's a good pairing.
Definitely.
So,
We have Naoki here.
Yeah, so I haven't gotten a chance to talk to him yet.
Those are, you know, like sometimes it sounds weird, but as a driver, like sometimes dreams get true, you know. And then you see like Naoki so close, and you can drive with him.
Yeah.
Like it's just it's nice.
I think it was like Rome and Forrest Wang in Long Beach. I believe, I could be wrong, but they pulled up next to each other, and like Rome's waving to Forrest, and he's like, "Man, I used to watch you, like, and now we're here." And like Forrest's like, "Man, that's awesome. Let's put on a show." Like those, I got goosebumps, man. Those are the moments though that like make this so cool that you can grow up watching somebody and then compete against them. Like, how many people, you know, just watched James Dean for years and then got on track with him, and then it's like, what? I
have a story with James. You know, like I was first time FD in 2017 Long Beach just to watch.
Yep.
And then I got a signature on my helmet. You know,
oh, really?
And from James, and then we met in Oman.
Okay.
Like January 19 or 2019 before COVID. And he was like, "I signed your helmet?"
No way.
And it was like, "Yeah." "And now you're competing with me?" And he was like, I was like, "Yes." And I was just like speechless, you know, like in front of him. And then like we drove until top 8 together. So it was so cool. It was great, you know.
That's perfect.
Or like my first ever FD moment, it was in the COVID year.
Yep.
So first round was St. Louis.
Yep.
So I was like in my Eurofighter. We didn't know we had a down on power because we had only 620 horsepower.
Yeah.
But we wanted to come there and arrive, you know.
Of course.
And it was like first practice lap out, and it was like I was going to I didn't really get it, and I was in the lead line, and then Chelsea pulled left, and he was like, "Yeah," and I was like, no, distance. And then like Graham Downey, like from Mattfield's team, he was like, what did you do in the car? Like waving?
Yeah,
was something wrong with the car?
Yeah.
I was like, no, I showed Chelsea. Please give me some distance.
Because you know he's just going to paint the side of your car, right?
And he did.
Yeah, of course. It doesn't matter who he's driving against. It's like, you want a tandem? Let's go. Like, this is it.
Well, then, you know, as soon as we have arrived, that's also like the biggest difference we noticed, like coming from the King of Europe Championship to the FD. It's like you can trust the lead driver and you can drive with the guys, you know, like, because sometimes we had like 80 cars in the lineup.
You don't know these guys. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I was chatting with Simon about that too, and he said the same thing. And he's like, practice is hard, and like spotting is hard because I don't know. Like, we're searching on our phones, like looking for videos of what they've done before.
Like 56 drivers here in the Grid and Drift Mass, you know,
it's crazy.
I mean, the level is not like back in the days. It's here you can trust also. Like,
yes, of course,
every driver. But like you said, 56. Sometimes you read a name and you think like, which car was it? Was it the yellow,
color?
the
Yeah.
blue? You know, like, so it's cool.
Yeah, it's good though. I'm glad to see how big and sustainable everything is here. Like how nuts it's gotten.
Nice you reached out.
Yes.
Which you know, like I mean, we didn't really met in the past.
Yeah, not really, not like this.
I saw like the podcast this year, and I was like, damn. That's something I wanna do as well. And then you came yesterday, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, no, dude. I had to, man. The whole goal here is I want to talk to guys that have done both.
Cool.
Because it's you see in comments, oh, it's better if they do this. It's better if they do that, or like we should change this and change that. And I'm very much a believer in like there is room for all of it. There doesn't need to be one that's better than the other. It needs to be different. What they're doing here with the tire rules, I'm happy is different than what they're doing in FD because it keeps conversation. If everything was the same at every event, it'd be boring.
Definitely.
So I love it, and I love hearing from you guys of what it's like. You guys have a crazy adventure and everything going on. I love following your socials and stuff too because like
thank you.
I like open up and I'm like, what is this like crazy billet dry sump thing for the engine? Like, dude, the dry sump setup on this is insane. It looks beautiful too. It's like black and gold and. Yeah, it's wild some of the stuff you guys are doing.
Thank you, appreciate it.
No worries. Well, I got your partner in crime up next.
Let's do that.
So I might have to bug you for some questions to ask.
Sure.
We'll do that after. Dude, thanks. I'm glad we got to do this.
Thank you.
Thankfully, your name is not as hard to pronounce. So Joshua Reynolds, how's it going, man?
Very good.
Do you go by Josh or Joshua?
Well, Josh is fine.
Just Josh?
Yeah.
All right,
That's
I wasn't
good for
sure.
me.
I say to people, I'm like, what does your mom call you? And then that's how I know like how they like to be.
Yeah.
Do you like when you get in trouble, does she say your full name?
Yeah,
exactly. Of course.
Yeah. It would even go longer. It would be Joshua Alejandro Correa Reynolds.
Wow. Yeah, I'm not trying
then
that.
I know I'm in shit.
That's when you know it's gone bad. That's it's crazy. So how's your? I mean, I know your weekend's been a little rough.
Yeah.
You saved the car, which is really good. It could have been a lot worse.
Of course, yeah. No, we had to push hard.
Yeah.
And it's just unforgiving that track.
We were saying like the top 21 drivers were 90 and up.
Yeah.
Like
it's crazy. It's
insane. And especially with this track, just because like it's 3 outside zones. Yeah. That's all it is. With like they have like little clips and stuff in between, but yeah, it's wild.
I think it's never seen before, actually.
I don't think No, I was talking with a bunch of the Drift Masters guys. I'm like, how are you going to judge this? Like, it's just going to come down to like literally a square foot.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is great. Like, I'm happy that we're at this level.
Yeah,
so
it's insane.
Yeah. How have you enjoyed the Supra?
Very good, actually. It needs a little bit of love for the setup because it's such a new car. There's little development, so we really need to test it a lot.
You get to be the guy who develops it. That's the hard part.
No, but other than that, it's a great platform. The engine is great. I think it will be at some point maybe the future 2JZ.
You think so?
As soon as the prices go down a little bit.
Yeah, but we've seen that before, right? Like we've seen engines come in that were really expensive. Like even VQs in the beginning were expensive, and now like people are giving away VQs.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that's good. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
I mean, that was when these cars came out. That was my biggest fear is they were going to make a terrible Supra.
Yeah.
And
No.
I think people were worried in the beginning, but they seem to be pretty sick, and the kits that come out for them are crazy.
Exactly. Even our tuner said he thinks stock-wise with the engine and everything, you can push 600 horsepower easily
without
doing anything.
So
just
very
software.
similar to a 2J, where it's just like turbo and injectors are 600 horsepower. It's almost like they did it on purpose, right?
Exactly.
I remember, I think when they got released, there was like a press conference where someone was like measuring to see if the 2J would fit it. Like the day it got released, the guys in there with the measuring tape. So you've driven, so the 3 cars I remember would have been this, then you would have had the Eurofighter.
Yes.
And then did you have an 8.6 as well?
Yes, I had an 86 with the supercharger in the front.
Right.
Maybe you remember
Is that
one
still in the US?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've got the big blower up top.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You were hanging around in Irwindale too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I wanted to drive the full season in FD this year, but with that car, we just had so many problems. And it just wasn't worth it putting that much money into that car just for having it broke down in every race. Yeah,
that's tough. At some point, you kind of have to, unfortunately, cut the losses. And when we're talking to Yves, the program you've got now with Toyota Gazoo in Switzerland seems to be working quite well.
Yeah, it makes more sense. You can develop the cars here, and then if they're ready at some point, you can ship them to the US or drive in Europe, then you're open for it.
Yeah. We had a really interesting conversation last night that I kind of want to recap about, we don't have to get into the numbers, but the cost difference between FD and here. And it came down to something that I was not expecting.
Little to no.
Yeah. So you're saying it's pretty similar.
Yeah.
And can you explain to me the reason why?
Yeah. We have regulations here in Europe with the night driving and weekend driving with the lorries.
With the trucks,
With the trucks, yeah. And that just comes down to the cost for the guy who's driving it. So you need for a small distance, you need like 2 days, which in the US you have like, I don't know, 12 hours worth.
Yeah. So it was essentially, you can't drive on Sundays.
Exactly, yeah.
Like 10 p.m. on Saturday, that's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then it has to be an RV, right?
Yes. So for us, we have a special permit with this one because it's a camper.
Okay.
So it's like 70% living and the other 30% cars.
Okay.
So we can drive on Sundays. That's a little bit better.
Yeah.
But if you have a fully committed rig, it's impossible to drive.
That must be like a pain in the ass for track organizers too, because no one can leave on Sunday, right? Like there's all these rigs that are just sitting there waiting. That's nuts. And I guess, I would have expected FD to be more expensive with flights and everything else, but that along with the fact that like the distance might be shorter, but you're not doing you're not doing 100 or 60, 70 miles an hour. Exactly. You're doing 40 and 50 almost the whole time. Yeah. Plus fuel and costs here are
exactly.
More, right?
Toll fees and
I never even thought of tolls.
Yeah. Huh. And also the MEC goes zigzag around.
Right. Yeah. FD is kind of like a circle.
From the East Coast to the West Coast.
Yeah. And this is...
it's zigzag. Yeah. Like Ireland and then Finland.
It's a lot. And being Swiss, you're kind of stuck in the middle of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What is your favorite part about Switzerland in general that maybe most people don't know about? I know all I know about Swiss culture at all is like banking. Because everyone talks about having a Swiss bank account. That's it.
No, I think the environment is really nice.
Okay.
Like the Alps and the climate in summer. Right. I don't like winters.
No?
Because in winter I'm trying to get to the US and to the warm parts.
You have to do the snowboarding stuff, huh?
I like snowboarding, but I stopped long ago.
Okay.
And then I never really got back into it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But the environment is super beautiful.
Yeah.
People are nice.
I've seen photos. I've yet to go. I mean, if you ever need somebody to announce something, let me know. Like I'm happy
to go.
Yeah,
maybe at our next track event.
Hey, there we go. Look at always doing business, right? So what is the part about maybe the US side that you miss the most? I know it's not driving 5 hours to go get in and out because Yves won't stop talking about it. But is there any? Yeah,
definitely not.
I know you're okay with in and out, but like the drive, it's
no 5 hours. No way.
You're a good friend. You're a very good friend for doing that.
No, I actually was born in Seattle. So
I don't know. Really? I did
Yeah.
not know that. So you're dual citizen then?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
dude,
I came back to Switzerland when I was 4 years ago. 4 years old.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I was like 4 years ago.
Yeah, no.
I did not know that. Huh.
And I really like the US because I got part family there in Miami, especially all the Venezuelan people are there.
Okay. So is that's your background then?
Yeah.
Man, I'm learning so much about you. I did very little. This is the hard part about these ones. I don't get time to research, but I get to learn along with everybody else.
Better, so we figure it out on the way.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, so your family is a lot of your family's in Miami and Venezuela, and then your parents were in Seattle.
Yes, my mom and my dad they went to Seattle.
Okay,
but then they broke up like when I was little. Yeah. So my mom went back to Switzerland, and my dad went back to Venezuela.
Huh? Yeah. Do you ever go back to Venezuela at all? Or?
Yeah. Recently, I was there. It was bad ago.
Yeah,
it was super bad.
They had a bit of a rough go. Yeah,
but now it's starting to get better, and I can go back.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
luckily,
cool.
Yeah.
Do they have any drifting culture in Venezuela? I'm sure there's something.
There's something more street racing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, with the Hondas and all that.
Yeah. They're a little bit behind us there, but maybe they'll get some track action going.
But there's a Next Entire Venezuela account on Instagram. Yeah.
There you go, man. Make some calls, right?
Exactly.
Should go out there. We'll ship one of these bad boys over, show them what it's up. Oh man. Yeah. Have you always run the black and the red livery?
No, that's specifically for Toyota.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had like a black greenish livery originally for Drift Force.
Right.
And then Yves wanted to do the yellow car as an homage to his dad. I'm sure he talked about that.
No, we didn't get into that. That's interesting.
So his dad had a yellow race car.
Okay.
That's why he wanted to do a yellow one.
Oh, that's cool.
Then I was like, okay, I'm sticking to the old livery.
Yeah.
Kinda. So we just added red and white.
Looks good. I mean, it's a sharp looking car.
Yeah.
I do love too that you guys have like brought Heatwave over.
Yeah.
That's like
it's
you
so
obviously
cool.
working with Matt Field, and then you're like, hey, we can do this way.
And the people love it here also.
Yeah.
They always come want to buy Heatwaves and stuff.
I will say, like, you guys have done on the business side incredibly well. Like, I think you're very, very smart, very forward thinking. Like the Heatwave thing is a good indication of that.
Thank you.
Everything you've done with the tire companies, obviously getting in with Toyota Gazoo Racing in Switzerland, like where does all that come from? Like, have you always felt very comfortable in business, or has that been more Yves' side of thing? Or
I think we have the company together.
Okay.
I think that's how we started to. I came from a different background than Yves, and I brought some different ideas into it than him. And then I think we both really filled each other out where we didn't. Where how do you say that?
Yeah, like where he was lacking something,
exactly.
you were good
where
at
he was
it.
lacking, I was good at it.
Okay.
And that's how we can really bring it forward.
Yeah, like, I mean, there's not many people that have had multiple programs in multiple countries with, factory team, basically. It's really interesting because, especially in the US, there's not a lot of information about you guys. But even being here, there's a lot of chatter about it. And I mean, are you allowed to talk about what you guys were doing today? Because it's neat what was going on here. And I think a lot of younger drivers could learn from it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, we try our best to always improve and to.
Well, are we allowed to talk about who was here or what you guys were doing?
Yeah, sure.
So you guys had.
We had Toyota Switzerland here, and with their best sales agents.
Yep.
And journalists.
Yeah.
And it was their first drift event.
That's cool.
Like, some of them were on a wet drift event before in our center. Yeah. But it's not comparable. And they loved it. Yeah.
It's a great idea because now the,
now
Toyota.
They know.
And Toyota can now, this is an opportunity to, give something back to the people that sell a lot of vehicles. And
it's always one thing if you show pictures or videos, and it's the other one if you see it live. And witness the insanity that goes on here.
Can you talk about what your actual business is? Because it's pretty sweet as well. You've mentioned the name, but didn't actually talk about what
we have a driving center.
Okay.
In Switzerland, there's for new drivers, they need to do a mandatory driving course. Yep. It's 1 day, and they can do it there. That's how it started. Okay. And then we have also car importers coming who launch their new cars on the track.
Like at the facility.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's got like a skid pad and it's got spots to do.
Yeah. We even have a ramp that goes over the roof. So
really?
For the SUVs, you can go over on top of the center and all that.
That's super smart.
It's like a playground for adults.
That's you get to work all day.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, cool. I mean, I really hope it sucks that this season didn't work out for you on stateside. I really hope that maybe some things get jugged around or moved around. Love to see you guys back next year.
Yeah. I mean, we loved it there. Well, what I also said to Yves is the nice thing about FD is the late schedule. So we can sleep until 11 or 12.
Man, you guys were practicing at like 7:30 in the morning. I was
like these days I got up at 6 every day. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, I was looking at the schedule. I'm like, no, I'm not getting up. I'm jet lagged. I'm sleeping in. I'll go find everybody later.
Exactly.
The late schedules. The night racing's cool. I mean, the night stuff here is pretty sick. This is an insane venue.
It looks so good.
Oh, it's so neat. The
it
photos.
reminds me of the US. Yeah. It's kind of... with the lights and the setting and everything.
It's similar to like Irwindale in the way that you've got the big quarry in the background. Because that's what this is, right? It's like a big, it's a big pit mine. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, that's sick. Well, dude, thank you for taking some time.
Thank you.
I'm glad we got to do this, and hopefully you come stateside again. If you do, let me know. We'll maybe we won't get internet. We'll get something else.
No,
let him go in there. All right, thanks again.
All right,
gonna be.
I'll hold
Not a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just hold it. It's fine. Yeah, I just talk with my hands. I don't want to hit you with it, but
I can hold it for you for a clap.
There we go. Perfect. Yeah. All right. So we have Piotr Wiecek. Okay. How do you pronounce your name? Let's start with that.
Yeah, it's Piotr Wiecek.
Piotr Wiecek.
Yeah.
Okay. Close. You're like close enough.
Yeah, it's good.
It's all good. I think people assume you are not as tall as you are because whenever I think of you, I always think of you standing next to James Dean. And like it makes because I'm 6 foot and you got to be what 6'1". I guess
James said to me it's like 6'3" because we are not using these dimensions to be honest. I'm like 188 centimeters. I even don't know how much it is.
No, I'm like 180. So I come from Canada, so I use mostly metric too. But how's the weekend been for you other than just crazy?
As you can hear in the background, probably our car is warming up for the beginning of top 32 battle, our first battle, and so far it was okay. It was a really good qualification. I was really happy about it. Managed to score 2 times 97 points, so it was really an achievement, I think. If we will score the average of 2 runs, in qualification, I'll be probably on top, so that's good.
Crazy.
But this already is behind us now. We need to focus on tandems, and this on this track it's really tricky because everybody are simply pushing really hard. So we need to be prepared for that simply. And we will see. It's hard to get an adjustments right because now it's really hot on the track. Tarmac is not even tarmac. I think it's a concrete, some kind of. It's getting really warm and it's behaving probably differently as it will be during the night. But hopefully we will get to the night and then we can have this problem in our back.
Yeah, who do you have in top 32 then?
Juha with Alexo.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, very very well known driver from the past, especially. He was when there was like Drift All Stars European Championship, he was really on top. But he still got it, so we need to be really focused for this battle, and we will see.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously have high hopes for you. I think you've been driving phenomenal. It looked like there was a little bit of some struggles with the Supra, but any new chassis, you're gonna run into that, and it's a very different layout, and the car doesn't behave the same way as the S chassis do.
Yeah.
So everybody I've chatted to with it, I mean, I've chatted with 3 guys today already in that chassis, and they've all kind of said, yeah, it still needs work. Like it's new, right? These things there's years of notes on.
Yeah. This chassis in case of a Supra has a lot of development already by Freddy in FD, but also the difference between FD and here are the tires.
Yes.
The Valino tires are super grippy.
They're crazy
grippy. And I think the front end of Supra needs some more development simply to handle this grip. So we probably will need to redesign it a bit together with our team. But fingers crossed we'll be able to do it very soon and starts to feel comfortable in the car. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because like watching you drive in it, it's not like you didn't look amazing in it. It's just at this level, at what these drivers are doing now, you have to be perfect. Like you said, a 97 still isn't perfect.
Yeah,
like
it was 4th place.
Yeah, that's just absolutely insane.
Yeah, that's cool. I think it's some kind of a record. If you gather all the scores from the qualification, add them together, probably there was never higher number during the top 32 battle for. So that's very cool, and we'll see what's going to be an outcome during the battles of that.
Yeah. Are you? So I'm going to ask the big question. I know everybody at home.
Okay.
Thoughts on coming back to FD? Is there any news on that? I'm sure you've talked about it and thought about it.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you're allowed to talk about, but
I've been in New Jersey.
Yes.
And twice even this year. And I have to say that the vibe from America is something special. It's different. It's a great atmosphere. People there are also awesome. And I wish one day we will be able to come back, but probably not next year.
Okay.
We will see, because we need to focus on Supra. We need to focus on developing that. Have our first season in the new chassis behind us, and then maybe we'll think about something. But you never know. Future will tell. There are no some certain plans yet in our schedule, so that's how it looks like. Simply.
I'll take that. That's a very political answer. I like it. I'll take it. I mean, as much as I would love to see you come back with how much things have changed and progressed, like, it's crazy to think that it's even faster than it was before. Yeah. I know you keep a pretty good eye on a lot of what's going on, and you're a true drifting enthusiast as well. And I'm sure there's times you go back and look like I've been gone for 2 years or 3 years, and they're just getting faster.
Yeah. As everywhere in drifting,
yes.
I would say.
And just in general.
Drifting globally, simply, you don't know what's look like in 3 years furthermore. So it's it's superb. I think it's something really exciting to see that the sport is constantly developing, not stopping. So it develops everything around us, not only this sport, but also a fan base, because something new is constantly going on. So That's what you want to see in a sport.
FD Japan's going on this weekend while this is going on, and then we're like 2 weeks out from Utah, and it's great. Like almost every weekend you can turn in and watch live drifting.
That's awesome.
Which is exactly what we want. All right, last question for you. What is the one thing you are missing from the US, or what did you stop and go and eat or do when you got to New Jersey?
That's a good question. Probably it's not only one thing. There will be a few. But if I will have to mention one, it's going to be hard, That's a good question. No, in general, I think the atmosphere. It's different in America. People are behaving differently also.
Yes, they are.
A lot more enthusiastic. Not enthusiastic, it's the wrong word, because people in Europe are very enthusiastic too. But they're a lot more, let's say, open.
Yeah.
They're expressing it a lot.
Yes.
And that's really awesome. And I miss that for sure. And as I said, maybe one day I will be able to experience that from behind the wheel again. But that's something for the future.
You let me know if you want to announce it. I got a podcast that we could probably talk about it on. I'd love to get a full length. I've got a bunch of notes from your past, and that's one day I'll get the chance. We'll do a full length episode.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Cool. Well, good luck for the rest of the night. I'm glad we got to finally do this, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you very much, and take care.
Thanks. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us here in Germany. Iron Drift King, Drift Masters, everybody was awesome. I'm super happy that we got the drivers on that we did. Thank you to everybody. Thank you especially to Piotr, because his weekend is insane, and just trying to get a hold of him was a full-time job. But thank you guys for listening. Hopefully this gives you some perspective on what drifting is like outside of Formula Drift, what it's like for these drivers to run both series, to run different series, and everything surrounding it. As much as we all love Formula Drift, it is very important to be watching drifting everywhere. But this also may give you some perspective and give you some insight on some drivers that may be coming over as well. So thank you again, guys, for watching everything. My name is Jacob Gettins. This is the Outerzone, and we'll catch you on the next one.